Okay, hold your breath for 10 seconds. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Noise reduction. I'll apply a noise reduction thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, why?
Because I don't want you to breathe.
I'm not a swimmer.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Seattle Artist Spotlight, episode 3. This is Evan DeVries.
Hello, hello.
And I am saying that right.
Yeah, DeVries. A lot of people
Yes.
say DeVries
Or Febreze.
Febreze. DeVries. When DeVries University came on the scene, got a lot of jokes. A lot of jokes made my way.
If you haven't seen the last 2 episodes, Spence Hood and Craig Swade, or Craig Furnival, please check them out. Link will be right here, or everywhere.
Somewhere.
Let's get right into it, shall we?
Indeed.
Who is Evan DeVries?
Who am I? That's a good question. Musically, I call myself a producer and a songwriter, and I've been doing kind of like soul and R&B influenced music for the last few years, and really like working with electronic elements as well. So I try to work in that to just create something kind of laid back and enjoyable. I'm the third of 5 kids, and I love all varieties of Asian food.
Wow. Yeah, that's a very thorough answer. I appreciate that.
You got it, man.
What brought you to Seattle, of all places?
Well, I grew up in the Edmonds area, so
Not far.
Not far at all. Just a little bit north, and definitely knew I wanted to be in the city. I went to college in Orange County at Chapman University. I was a business student, and yeah, so I was always doing music on the side, and moved up to LA right after college because it was an hour north, and tried to do my thing there. Was gigging around, didn't really hit my stride in the scene there, and decided to give it another shot in Seattle and just get back to the beautiful PNW, man.
This might tie into other questions, but what do you think didn't click down there that clicks up here?
I think part of it was like not having a really big body of work, or just like not having a lot to show others, or like have a way to articulate exactly what I do and like who I was looking to get connected to. I think another part of it is I found more networking opportunities here, and like just the size of the industry felt, it being a smaller industry, it was more accessible. Like as soon as I moved back, I remember hearing about Park Ave. I think it was like a month or 2 after I moved back, I was immediately at like a Park Ave event and just getting connected with other musicians and videographers, and it just felt more accessible than in LA. And LA is just gigantic. I don't recommend living there if you don't have a car.
Good advice.
Yeah.
From musician to musician.
Oh yeah.
How long have you been back to Seattle?
About 2 years. I think in February it'll be 2 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Yeah.
How would you describe Seattle's current music scene? What do you think the good, the bad, and the ugly is?
The good, the bad, and the ugly. Ooh. I
Or
don't know.
maybe not. As I've said before, maybe not focusing so much on the bad and the ugly. Maybe a great, good, bad, ugly.
Well, yeah, that sounds good to me. I think what's great is kind of what I was touching on with like the accessibility. It feels easier to find gigs, and there's like a stern, like anti-pay-to-play mentality here, which I really appreciate. Because in LA, a lot of the gigs I came across, it was like ticket minimums, and I get it, you need to bring pre-bought to your shows, but I also think it's part of building the audience is your audience is playing out. So like if you always have to have that minimum of 45 tickets, you're going to be out of pocket every single time you play. And it'll just be really hard to build that audience. So I really like the networking opportunities here and accessibility to gigs. Something that I thought was interesting was just that there's more of a hip-hop scene here than I thought. Like a lot of the rising artists seem to kind of be doing like an R&B hip-hop kind of thing. Like I see a lot of performers just using backing tracks and singing, and I think that's awesome that there's that like total breakaway from like the grunge scene for like what's becoming popular from Seattle, which is cool. The ugly, at the risk of sounding arrogant, I want to see like more bands just like really like knock my socks off, and like I think that a lot of it singer-songwriters are here, which is cool. I love like a well-crafted song, and there's like that's an art in itself, but I really want to just see like crazy bands with like backup vocalists and like just really, really well rehearsed and just be like really floored. And maybe I'm just not going to the right places, but that happened to me more often in LA, where the like level of talent was just like insane. Like I was just like I gotta go practice right now. You know.
Yeah, must be really inspiring.
It is inspiring. Yeah, I just saw a band down there last week called Hello Forever, and they were kind of like a 60s like Beach Boys inspired kind of thing with some rock elements, and
Really?
they had like five vocalists on stage, and like it was the best sounding harmonies I've ever heard. I was just like, I was floored.
Wow. Not something I'd expect.
Mm-hmm.
Hello Forever, huh?
Super cool.
Where do you see the music scene developing or going to in the next 3 to 5 years, let's say?
In Seattle specifically?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of people fighting to give Seattle like a good name, and trying to like break away from like the grunge era a little bit and like reestablish ourselves. Like we've had Macklemore and some other notables, but I think there's a lot going on besides that. And I think that we could like reestablish ourselves as like a primary market again, which would be really cool. And I think the fact that there is like Seattle Artist Spotlight podcast like Made for Music by Duncan from DFI, that's really cool to bring these people together and like see us all interfacing a little bit more and like breaking up any sort of like pockets in the industry and just being open and willing to work with people. And I think a lot of interesting sounds come from that, like our collaboration together, like something I wouldn't have done because I don't work with saxophonist, singer, piano player, composer, arrangers like you often. So it was just cool to try something new.
Yeah.
And so
Fiverr. That's a good way to find people like me.
A Fiverr, multi-hyphenate, man. So I don't know. I don't know exactly where that will take us, but I think that there is a lot of collaboration brewing, and that's cool it always kind of blends together something new.
For sure. Along the same lines, at least the same topic, what is the collaboration scene like in LA?
I found it hard to like break out of my immediate like bubble. I know there are opportunities, like there's jam nights too and open mics and all that stuff, and maybe I just didn't hit it hard enough, but I found that I had my like circle of people, and beyond gigging with people who I didn't know, I didn't feel like there was I didn't personally collaborate with a lot of other people.
Where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years? How do you see yourself as a puzzle piece fitting into the scene?
Well, I'm really happy with like my From Scratch series, which is like my long form YouTube show, which Seven was on episode 1. He's the OG. That's right. And I really like what it's done for me so far. We've shot like 4 episodes so far, and it just is like, 1, opened up new musical ideas, but 2, just like connecting me to more people, and then they'll be like, oh, you should do an episode with my producer, and it just like opens more doors. And so I see that kind of being like locally what I'm bringing to the table is like this platform to collaborate, and I kind of describe it as like a podcast, but we're also making a song.
Yeah.
And I like that to be like kind of my impact on the scene. And personally, I just want to be like in 3 to 5 years, I'd just like to be making all my money from music. I have a couple albums I'm proud of, and yeah, just be fully sustained on music.
Yeah, sounds like we have similar goals. We also have similar ways of accomplishing those goals. So that's cool.
Doing something for the local scene, doing something for ourselves.
Bam.
Explosion FX noise.
Oh, one more time. Yeah, and then it happens. Love it. It's that time of the episode, Evan.
Are you playing the show? Are you playing the song?
Yeah, I am. There's not that many questions, as is customary in Seattle Artist Spotlight. I feel like I'm about to propose or something.
You gotta wow me, man, and then you can propose.
All right, gotta blow your socks off.
That's all right.
With the shoes still on.
Shoes are still on, but the socks they might come off.
This is a track by Evan DeVries from the 2019 album Easy.
Yeah.
This
awesome.
Is New Perspective.
Oh, very cool. Nice.
Or is it New Perspective?
New Perspective. Yeah, you had it right.
Yes. Okay. I don't have to redo it. Great. Here we go.
Nice. Dude, nice. It's cool, man. I really like that it's a horn led thing, and I like the counter melodies that you did a lot too with like the lower sax line. Like that just like totally brought something new to the song, and I just like love how you played with the melody too. Like it just sounds very sweet on a saxophone.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't do much for solo, duo, or trio instrumentation, so I really wanted to. With each cover, I want to do something different.
Totally.
So this was definitely a little challenge, but it was fun.
I'm surprised you chose New Perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I feel like it's the most Jason Mrazzi song on that.
Maybe that's why I chose it.
Maybe that's why. That's not a bad thing. It's just I feel like I've since departed from that like total sunshine sound.
Right.
But it's still a valid tune, and I love what you did with it, man.
If you haven't heard the original New Perspective, if you haven't heard the OG New Perspective,
there you go.
This sounds very new agey.
Yes, it does. We're gonna start a little cult out of this apartment here.
Yes. If you haven't seen it yet, link is gonna be probably right here. Check it out on Spotify. That's New Perspective, or just follow the link as I just said, and check out all the other stuff Evan has to offer on his Spotify and other platforms, because unlike me, he actually has published, produced tracks like all over the place. It's crazy.
Projects. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, it's taken a while. Like between my 2 EPs, I think it took like 4 years. So it just takes a little bit to get into the swing, but it's nice when you.
Do you produce your own tracks as well?
I do like the initial demos, and then I actually work with this guy Aaron Karstensen in Kirkland, and he goes by Cross Stitch Music. That's his artist name. And he does the mixing and mastering, and then we usually co-produce the songs together now. So yeah, that's kind of really helped shape the sound, because he's mostly like an electronic artist. Mm-hmm. So it's been interesting having him bring some of that influence into the tracks.
That's really cool. Oh yeah, there's just one more question. How did we meet?
Shout out to Park Ave, man. It was at the last Park Ave artist party, and you happened to be there, and we got talking, man. I think we just got talking to it outside or something after the gig. Yeah. And then it was a few months went by, and we did my show, and now we've been kicking it a little bit more.
If you're a new artist to the area, you just have to go out to all the shows that you can, because this is how you meet everyone, and it's only through other people that you will develop your career at all. Mm-hmm. And it's the only way that you'll stay inspired to keep being in the scene as well. Yeah,
and that's to tack on to the what do I like about Seattle question. I think it is that it is a supportive community, and you see people playing in each other's bands or sitting in on tunes, and that's fun to be a part of. And take it from this guy, you're in 7-8 bands now.
Yeah, you got it.
Networking at its best, man.
Yeah, no kidding. Anyway, this has been Evan DeVries. This has been episode 3. That's a bad jokes. Cut that.
Take 2.
This has been Evan DeVries. This has been episode 3 of Seattle Artist Spotlight. We hope you enjoyed. I don't know what Evan thinks. I hope you enjoyed.
I hope so too. We were chatting away. I hope it was enjoyable and enlightening.
Yes. Tune in next week. No. Next month when we interview a lovely artist for the lovely month of February.
Beautiful, man. Thanks for having me on.
Another fist bump, another explosion.
Take 2 on that.
Bye. I never know how to end these things.